Hey everybody, thanks for joining today. It's great to see everybody on. And we're just going to jump right in and get down to the brass tacks of the things. So want to introduce Brian from My Online Toolbox. So Brian, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Rob, and hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today with this exciting webinar titled The Intersection of Marketing and Operations for More Quality Leads and Profits. It's split 50-50. So what we're going to do today is split half of this on the marketing side for more quality leads. And then we're going to go to Contractor Foreman to help you manage the leads through your sales and make as much money as possible. What we want to do is just for some of the people here that are coming through the My Online Toolbox channel and already know us, we want to make sure you understand how powerful the Contractor Foreman solution is. So we're not going to steal their thunder, but I just want to make you stay put for a moment and wait for the 30 minutes until Contractor Foreman kicks in. They're going to show you a tremendous, flexible, powerful solution to help you with all of your biddings and reportings and going all the ways through back to the consumer to bring them within the process of how you manage the job and make all your money. But for the moment, we're now going to jump right back into the marketing side. All of you have the same challenge, which is trying to be found in the first place with the best quality leads possible. So using this particular company, if you went to search for fountain construction in Los Angeles, you're going to find a particular company on either page 1 or page 2 of your results, where in the mapping, you're going to see how they're represented. The name of the company is called On Golden Pond for this example. And you're going to see a perfect representation. In this case, they do have a 5-star ranking with a handful of reviews. You're going to see where they're physically located on the map. And you're also going to see them listed in what's called the organic or free section. That is independent of the paid section where anybody could join at any given time. But the free section is a harder objective. So when you're found, and people will see this company in the mapping or within the free results at the bottom. What's more important, in addition to, of course, accomplishing the challenge of being found in the first place, is that when you hit click, you're going to run into a wonderfully cosmetically appealing representation of this company, seeing everything they do, and of course, the commercial work, the fountains and the ponds. And right there, the first experience from a consumer finding this particular contractor is like a wow factor, that they look real, they look professional, and they're ready to play ball for this particular service they provide. But that's not limited to just this type of specialty service. You could be a painter, you could be a roofer, you could be a remodeler, you could even be in commercial construction. All of these people go through a natural transition of being able to strategically first look to be found in the first place by a future customer. And they also then go out of their way to perfectly organize all of their available content to be able to be appealing to the human eye once they're found. So what we'd like to do is remind people that everything to do about your marketing has to be with establishing and enhancing your brand. The big thing is, and you all have something in your pocket that many people don't realize, you have the ability to create unique content on a consistent basis. Your entire life is what the thing looks like before you showed up, so what is happening when you're there, and what is the final result when you're done. Once you learn how to capitalize on this unique content, you could become a content machine, a marketing machine. You have to learn how to leverage this information appropriately, but you have access to it on a daily basis. And that's what we like to do to remind people that every contractor, regardless of whether you're a one-man startup or you're a 20-person, 10 million a year company, either way, you're all going through a cycle of making sure that the brand of your company gets better and better, both to the potential prospect and to the search engines. It begins with a strategy. And whether we're talking about a website or the technical buzzwords of SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, or Google My Business, or YouTube, or Instagram and Facebook, or even email, It's all how you leverage the technologies for your marketing objectives. You don't want to have the technology itself guide you in what to do. And what we want to do is leverage real live examples so you could see the applicability and be able to understand how you could use this for your long-term objectives in marketing for quality leads over a period of time. This particular company, Zetro, they are a hybrid of both commercial and residential work. So what I'm going to do is jump on over to the residential kitchen remodeling just to make an easier point amongst the diverse group of people that may be here today. And you'll see that when you land on the page, many times, most people will just quickly look at the page and maybe the image right there in the middle got your attention, possibly the word in the middle. But what really is most important, and this is a great takeaway that every single person here could forget everything else that we're going to say for the next hour. And this is going to be an easy one for you to be able to join the marketing world as we go forward in your objective to get more quality leads. And I want you to understand something. Try to make believe you were going to a Barnes & Noble and you're just randomly walking down the aisles looking for a book. The first thing you're going to do is probably look up to see the different sections of where the different books are between business and biographies or whatever. And then once you get to the aisle that you're looking for, you're going to walk up and down and look at various covers of books. Once you see how the search engines understand it, you're going to look at things differently. So let's look at this page. And before you look at the page itself, I'd like you to look at what's called the title tag. Up on every single browser that you go to, for a browser tab, should I say, for every single web page you go to, if you hover your mouse over it, you're going to see how the person has set up an individual page to be found by the search engines. So in this particular case, regardless of everything else that you read on this particular page, the cover of the book for this page is specific towards kitchen remodeling in Baton Rouge by a company called Zetro Construction. Right there, you will begin to learn whether your individual pages have been done correctly or not, as well as you could spy on your competitors. Many times you and your competitors are doing it wrong, or many times you could be doing it better, or you're doing it correctly. But this mistake is the equivalent of taking a beautiful book and putting it in the wrong section and having the wrong title on it. And even though the book itself is great, if no one's going to pick it up to read it, it doesn't matter. But as we go deeper, you'll also see it's called the website address or the URL structure. And you could see that the search engines could also see that for this particular company, Zetro, we're specifically targeting a topic called in the residential side of his business, specific to kitchen remodeling. So the search engines, not the human, are learning what is this about. So when you look for a kitchen remodeler in Baton Rouge and you're wondering why this company is constantly being found on page 1, 2, and 3, it's because not only is the content beautiful, which it is, but it's been indexed correctly so the search engines could put it there right in front of center of the human eyes when they're searching for a kitchen remodeler in Baton Rouge. Same thing goes with an H1 tag. Many times, sort of like you've opened up the book, and now you're looking at the various chapters, the H1 tag is the individual text that the human is seeing, and you're giving it the perfect title for this individual chapter that we're reading. And more importantly, every one of you is always going to have an abundance of pictures. But the most common mistake the majority of you make with those pictures are not the pictures itself, but how they inform the search engines what the picture is. So in this particular case, when you look, it's called an alt tag. It's nothing scary. And here is the definition that when you look at that pretty picture of a kitchen, it is specifically being indexed for kitchen remodeling in Baton Rouge. But if we did not tell the search engine correctly, or your programmers had to second guess, they may glamorize the countertops. They may glamorize the cabinets, which deserve to be glamorized, but the guy doesn't want leads for countertops. He does not want leads for cabinets. He wants someone to say, I want to do a complete kitchen remodeling job. So be careful that when you have images, do not assume that the people looking at those images know how to index it correctly for the search engines, because it could look pretty today and it might generate a garbage lead a year or two from now on a repetitive basis. That brings me to a warning before I continue to the other subject matters. Too many web programmers are extremely talented at creating a website. The problem is they may be limited in their understanding in marketing in general, and they may really not understand your business. What I want you to, the takeaway of the analogy is, I'm not looking to debate anybody here whether Google Docs or Microsoft Word is better, because quite honestly, and I'm not trying to brag, but whether I use Google Docs, Microsoft Word, or Chalk, I'm still going to be published in national magazines. Yes, I could use different tools to make the headers different, the colors better, the fonts different, the spell checkers and the thesauruses, but without my writing ability, the tool is nothing. So don't let the tool guide you in your decisions. Please make sure that you realize that if your programmer really doesn't understand your business and he technically puts it online, he may be creating a detriment to your marketing efforts on a long-term period. Same thing goes with yourself. Take a moment and realize that when you're going to bring something online for your marketing, you must realize that there's you and your objectives, and then there's your competitors. Take a moment to have somebody look at your competitors, because there are sometimes a competitor who may be weaker than you at their actual business, but they may be dominating in their marketing. And what you want to be able to do is position your decisions on amplifying what is that you're weak in, but also making sure that you're equal or better than what your competitors are doing. Now let's go to another particular remodeler called Gear Remodeling. This is when you look at the Google My Business. This is for free. First thing is to be aware of, when you go to your Google My Business account, there is a service area feature for free that allows you to put up to 20 locations that are your target service areas. That doesn't mean you have to use all 20 service areas. It just means that you want to really take a step back and not say where you're physically able to go, like a restaurant being called up for delivery. You want to be looking at it as strategically, where are the best opportunities for me? So you might have one town that's 5 miles north of you and another town that's 10 miles south of you. But if the 10 miles south of you is economically more advantageous, you may decide to say, skip the one that's closer, because there's much better business by just simply taking another 5 to 10 minutes of driving. So use that feature accordingly. The other thing with Google My Business is a very important topic, which is consumer validation. You must get reviews, because up until the point of you getting any reviews, all it is you talking about what you do, but it's nobody else validating what you do. Google My Business really wants to know that consumers agree with whatever it is that you say. And then separately, whenever they do say it, make sure to log in and thank them for whatever it is they say. Take a little warning here. If you do get a negative review, please don't use your emotions to get ahead of you. It's better to use it as an opportunity, because many smart prospects will look at your worst review and they will look to see how you respond in negativity. Things go wrong in construction. Things go wrong with prospects that you couldn't get back in time to. It doesn't mean you have to put a 1-paragraph, I'm getting back at somebody with vulgar type of response just because you got a 1-star review. It's better to take that as an opportunity to say, we are sorry we couldn't get to you. Unfortunately, we were busy with existing customers and we're sorry we couldn't fit you in, or whatever it is that you need to say. But try to have diplomacy in front of your reply, as opposed to agitation and feeling you're getting back at someone, because it will turn off a future prospect who is not concerned that you had a bad review. They're looking to see how you responded to that bad review. Taking it further, whenever you're with customers, the ultimate pinnacle of any customer experience is to get a review on video. Yes, these particular examples are professional, but even if you can't get a professional review, all you do is you take out your camera, instead of holding it the way you do the normal way to talk, you turn it to the side, you turn it on, and you just ask the customer to say politely, please tell everybody what your experience was with my business. Once you get that review, please take a note to not be in a rush to load it online. There is a strategic way to load it online. That's easier for us to guide you. We have plenty of videos on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel to guide you better. But the harder part is getting the reviews in the first place. Remember, this is the only time that you could have a 24/7 by 365 sales force that's not you and not your employees. The passion of your customers will far exceed anything you're going to say. And even if the video itself is not professionally done, depending on your market, you don't necessarily need a professional video to still accomplish the goal of having reviews online that allow you to show how other people like working with you beyond the actual written word. When you go to social media, such as Facebook, please don't treat Facebook the way you treat Facebook in your social life. You don't need to say happy Friday, happy Monday, have a good autumn, good spring. You want to make sure that you treat your Facebook page as nothing other than business. People, many times you feel that people like you because you met them and that they're going to be a friend to go out to have a meal with. No, you have to realize that they looked at you for a particular service, and your ultimate goal is for have them to appreciate that service and hopefully come back as a recurring customer or a referral customer at a later time. So when you post, don't treat it like a play-by-play part of your life where you're showing every little thing that you're doing and assuming by sheer volume people are going to follow you. It's better to take a step back and promote the real challenges that you're fixing, the real work that you're doing that looks cool to see, or of course, the finished project. And when you're able to, if you're able to guide somebody to learn more on your website, because there's a particular web page that has even more information beyond the short post that you're doing, using this particular example, this person has a landing page. This was done just June 2nd, but they have a landing page that has a lot of details about that particular project. So what they're doing is they went to their website, they made a whole bunch of changes, and then they made a simple post on their Facebook in order to show them what they were doing. And if you want to learn more, click here to go to the website. And that's a great way to pull them in to do further branding outside of the Facebook environment. That goes to show you also on the bottom. Many times, everybody has this personalized feeling that what they're saying is important. No, you have to take a step back and look at how the reactions are taking place with other people. Is anybody liking what you have to say? Anybody loving what you have to say? Anybody commenting or sharing what you have to say? If the answer is no, don't treat it that you need to abandon social media altogether. It just means that you're not doing a good job. So we could help you, and many other people could help you get better in expressing yourself, because a lot of times people are uncomfortable. So they try, they do it repetitively for a few months. They don't get any traction. So they feel they're a failure. And the answer is no. You just were going about it wrong. So just have somebody show you how to do it correctly, and you'll be able to, like this company, we just happened to be with them when they were starting Facebook, and now they have over 1,500 people liking them and commenting and sharing their stuff. It did take time, but they did start at ground zero, and it did take some time to be able to get their mojo going, for lack of a better word, to be able to do this on a consistent basis. The same thing goes with Instagram. Please don't use Instagram as a way to post every single image you're taking and assuming that through sheer volume, people are following you. It's the same thing. Share what's important. And when you do share something, do not assume people know what you're talking about. So try to put, try to put a few sentences of glamorizing. Hey, check out this problem that we're fixing. Check out what we're doing right now. So glad to show this finished project of the whatever it may be. But when you're explaining it, keep it short and sweet. And at the same time, when somebody tries to convince you to put a whole bunch of hashtags in the sheer hope that by having 20 hashtags tied to a picture that everybody's going to come running to look at your stuff, that's a way of making your marketing look like a mess. It's better to take a step back and look at, like in this particular case, I'm not looking at the image, but In this particular case, that roof happens to be $250,000, and he could probably cherry pick every little detail to put a hashtag with. But in this particular case, he probably has 4 to 5 hashtags, one being the town, the other one being that it's a slate roof. He might be talking about the type of slate and maybe the type of copper, but it's short and sweet, even though he could have 20 things to talk about. So keep your hashtags under control so the hashtags are not excessive and they keep the quality of your post as clean as possible. After we've gone through the websites, after we've gone through SEO, after we've gone through videos and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, even emails. Emails are done so sloppily with most contractors that is a perfect time for you to look different by just taking a moment to formatting your emails to look professional. In this particular case, the commercial construction contractor, I'm just using their auto reply to make a point, where when you type in something and say, I'm looking for a restaurant build out in some shopping mall, you're going to get an email and it looks like this. Thank you for contacting us. We're confirming we got the email and we're going to forward it to the appropriate person. In the meantime, while waiting for us, please ensure that you look at these key topics. The 3 topics that you see there in bold are larger font. They're in different colors for a reason, because they want to just give 3 options. Would you like to check out some photos? Would you like to check out all of our awards and acknowledgments? Or you want to check out the team? Their website has 50, maybe more pictures, pages that are gorgeous, but you can't overburden people with that many options. So you want to try to think about the 1, 2 to 3 things that you can guide a prospect to. Don't assume that they've already gone to that particular web page, because they haven't. Just re-emphasize, here's a few cool things to look at while waiting for us to call you back. So now what happens is you've now in less than 20 minutes have been open-minded to learning about not the individual technologies, because just websites alone, I could have a webinar from sunrise to sunset and just keep talking about all of the different ways to utilize your website properly. It's the same thing when it comes to SEO, search engine optimization. I'm not looking for you to be a technical genius. I'm just looking for you to appreciate the tools that are within your arsenal to use. And when you appreciate them, kind of like utilizing a smartphone, many of you don't know how mapping works, but you trust it. You put in an address, it shows you 2 different directions, it shows you the traffic, all that stuff. There are so many things to talk about, even with mapping, but many of you just rely on it with the assumption that it works. It's the same thing with SEO. It's not too difficult once you understand the basics. Google My Business is free. It's how you use it. You could decide to avoid it and lose, or you could take a moment to appreciate it and leverage it because it's not going away. Same thing with YouTube. When you have a video, take a moment to not be in a rush to publish it because it's permanent. It's better to take a moment to learn how to load it correctly so it lives on and generates leads 1 year, 2 years, 5 years down the road when the actual video itself is not giving you personally the same emotional impact as it was when you first got it. Same thing when it comes to Instagram and Facebook. Don't treat it like the wild, wild west of how to post by volume, post by quality. The same thing goes with email. Be classy in how you communicate, and it's going to be easy for you to differentiate yourself, not from me at My Online Toolbox, but your competitors who are all in such a rush that many times their communications look like garbage. So utilize that as an opportunity to look different when you're trying to solicit a new competitor. A new prospect from your competitor. In summary, a website is not marketing. So when you say, oh, I have a website, the website's just a tool. When not used properly, it is not marketing. Remember the basics to understand that the website, Google My Business, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and email, all are just tools to make you look better to both search engines as well as a potential prospect. And it doesn't take much in the construction industry to be one step ahead. The SEO topics, please don't ever be afraid of the technical concerns of what it means, because it's just learning the proper grammar and the proper spelling for search engines, just like with English. You have to learn how to use your words appropriately, and just by what you say and how you say it could make an impact with whomever you're communicating to. Done correctly, you become a marketing machine. Never forget, too many developers don't understand the industry, so don't let a techie guide you on your marketing objectives. And too many contractors simply don't understand their competition, so take a step back before you make any decisions and just quickly glance at who your top competitors are, just to see what they're doing and not doing. And that will allow you to make easier and harder decisions when you use a particular technology. Before we bring you to Contractor Foreman, we just want to also remind you that when Contractor Foreman is showing their tools, just because you're looking at their tools from an efficiency perspective, a reporting perspective, how much profits you're making, even that original company that we showed on Golden Pond in doing very well with their marketing, but when they're using the estimating tool from Contractor Foreman, or the proposal tool, should I say, is that they go out of their way to make it look pretty. So here they have a beautiful cover with a beautiful image. The opening page has a wonderfully crafted story. And then, of course, comes all of the dynamic details and all of the bells and whistles that Contractor Foreman, rightfully so, will brag about. But at the same time, the cosmetic appeal supporting those intimate details allows him to get the deal, which he did do in this particular case, and allows him to leverage not just the technology from the numbers perspective, but also from the consumer perspective and the marketing perspective. Before leaving you, I want to remind people that we have a lot of free education on both my Facebook and YouTube channels. That gives you weekly quick tips on little things to know as an adrenaline shot to your marketing efforts when you get busy from January to December. Our Instagram channel is second to none when it comes to featuring the best of our clients' projects. There is no better. We suggest you follow us on Instagram so you could see the absolute best representations of the projects from our clients. What we sell, without getting too deep into a sales pitch, is if you want to get into our orbit as a client, you must sign up for the basic education. There is no better way to learn everything about specifically website marketing. From there, we could then decide to go possibly to advanced education that brings it to the next level of websites. Part 2, social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, email, and really turning it up a notch. But it all starts with basic education. If you want, we could help you with websites directly through us or through our network channel. And the advanced clients reach out to us for real strategy planning where they're partnered with them on a continuous basis for 1 year to 5 years out. Those are all the different things that we provide for free and what we sell. Now, what we would love to do is introduce you to Contractor Foreman, who's going to teach you how, once you've gotten that ideal opportunity, there are ways to manage it more effectively and make as much money as possible. That's where the Contractor Foreman is going to take over. And then when you're done, remember to capture those jobs, capture those customer satisfaction, so we can come right back to My Online Toolbox and let the merry-go-round continue to spin in order for you to do this over and over again and make as much money as possible and be happy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And now, Rob, you're it.
Hey, Brian, thanks. And it's just always great to hear what you and My Online Toolbox has to offer. And it just seems like no matter how many times I hear it, I just always pick up something new. So that said, let's jump on into Contractor Foreman. So let's jump in here. All right, folks. So like I said, we're going to jump into Contractor Foreman. And, typically when I'm showing somebody Contractor Foreman, it takes me at least an hour to really get through even a portion of it. So we do need to move through this pretty quick. So I'll hit on the high points. And like I said, my name's Rob. I'm one of the co-founders of Contractor Foreman. I have been in construction. I say 35 years. It's been longer than that, but I hate to date myself too much. And Brian was talking about bringing in leads and things. And that's really where we're going to start in Contractor Foreman, because when you get these leads, what are you going to do with them? Where are they going to go? How are you going to manage them? And in Contractor Foreman, we built a spot really just for that. And not that I can just add a lead here. We have an add lead button. Sure, I can add a lead and start typing, but we all hate typing. Redundant data entry is a scourge of our life. So we have this little gear button up here, and I'm just going to hit that real quick. And as I do, a page is going to load. I've got most of this preloaded, but this one I do have to let it load. And I'm going to hit my green pencil here, and you can turn on a lead capture form. And here's what Brian's going to help you do. He's going to put this lead capture form on your website. So as people go to this fantastic website you've got, they're going to fill out a lead capture form, and they're going to give you all their pertinent information. And then you're going to set who in your company is going to get notified when a new lead comes in. So they're going to type it all out on the website. They're going to give you the project details. You or somebody in your company is going to get notified when that new lead comes in. So that new lead is going to come into Contractor Foreman. You're going to have all your lead sales funnel type data going on up here automatically. Your leads are going to be down here. You're going to see them coming in. We can have lead activities, sales activities. So as I click on a lead, main thing I want to show you, show you here is under the sales tab. So now I've got activities going on, and I can have multiple activities, of course. So as I click on there to edit it, so I can have my task type. That's an appointment, set a subject, date, time, and I can assign that. Very important here, because it's all about organization. It's cutting down on paperwork, text, phone calls, emails. So I'm going to assign that now to somebody in my company. So I'm assigning it to Mary here, and I'm going to show it on Mary's calendar. So I'm going to confirm that. And now that I've done it, so I'll just type in subject here or something real quick. And so now when I've saved that, now I gave that to Mary, so Mary gets 4 different notifications. So she's got a new lead activity assigned to her. Now it goes even a step farther than that, because yes, I'm managing everything. I've got my dashboard for all my leads. I can see what's going on here. And now I've got this lead to a point where they're saying, yes, I would love to get an estimate from you. Sure, I can come over here to my main menu. You can see all the different things that we have. We'll be getting into some of these, and I can come over here to estimate, and I can hit new. I can start typing again, but again, that sucks, and you don't want to do redundant data entry. So I just come over here to the lead, I click my 3-dot menu item, and I just click create estimate. You've already typed all the information about that potential lead, so it copies all that information over, creates the basic contact information for that lead, fills out all the fields that it can based on the information that you gave it as a lead. You start filling out the line items of the estimate. You've got a spot for terms, scope of work. You can do invitation to bids, attach files. I've got a cover sheet. Got some custom fields that I can do here. So as I've got my estimate all good to go, I'm going to save it. And as I save it, again, I hit my 3-dot menu item. I can email them out a straight PDF, or I can submit for electronic approval. And we build out Contractor Foreman as much as we can for you. So you're going to select from one of the pre-built templates we give you, or you can build your own. I'm not going to go through the whole process, but I click on the one that I want to send out. They can approve that online. And when they do approve it online, then I'm going to come over here, and this status is going to get changed from bidding. And then it's going to be marked as approved. And again, I'm going to say it 100 times, get rid of the redundant data entry. We push this data out in front of you all the time to get rid of that redundant data entry. So as I hit save, I get this little pop-up. Do I want to create a new project? Because it's just an estimate. I don't have a project yet. I can build out what's called your schedule of my schedule of values from here. I can create my first invoice right from here. I can create my CPM Gantt chart schedule. And if I want it, it'll write my purchase orders and subcontracts for me if I'm using my invitation to bids. So simply by clicking a couple of boxes, I've accomplished all these steps in a matter of seconds just by clicking OK at this point. Now, we are a full-on job costing system and time tracking system. We'll get into it a little bit. There's my time cards. They are GPS driven. I can put geo fences around all of my projects, and GPS driven, meaning when somebody performs an action on a time card, it tracks where they were, as well as pings a time card every 30 minutes during the day. And then here's the reports, which I'll show you more of those a little bit here. Then, like I mentioned, here's our purchase orders, which the system will write for me. If I'm using my invitation to bids, there's my subcontracts that it'll write for me. And there's where I'm paying my invoices when my vendors and my subs send me the invoices. I'm going to pay those using my bills. Now, as we created that project, simply by marking that approved, it sets up all of my financials, because over here in my estimate, I've told it on my line items that it's labor, that it's equipment, that it's, we call it the MLESO, material, labor, equipment, sub, and other. That is what your type is, MLESO, material, labor, equipment, sub, and other, plus my cost code. So it's going to set up a budget for my material, my labor, my equipment, my sub, my other. Then it's going to use my cost codes, and you can use cost codes we give you or set up your own cost codes. But then it's going to build all of your reports based off of the cost codes that you used in this estimate. And it's doing all that simply, again, I repeat it because it's almost hard to get your head around it, I understand, simply because I marked that estimate approved. So what does that mean? It means that it builds out my project for me. So I jumped over to a project now, and easiest way to show you that is my financials. Gives me my original contract amount, my budget amount, revised contract amount with change orders. As I approve change orders or get them approved, and they're electronic signatures as well, it increases my contract amount, puts them in my budget, etc. Gives me my amount paid, 30 days, tracks all that. Then it builds this mini, I call it 30,000 foot view budget. Here's my committed cost. So here's my budget for that material, equipment, labor, sub, and other. So my committed cost, and if I flip that switch, that line turns to actual, and then my over under for either my actual or my committed, depending on what I'm looking at. And it's performing this all automatically. It's a live system. So as soon as I hit save and something reaches a certain status, then it automatically updates this. Then I have my jump to buttons. So as I say, if something doesn't look right in my material, and I want to look at that real quick, something just doesn't make sense there. What's going on? I just click purchase orders, zips me down the page to take a look at my purchase orders. If I really need to look at the purchase orders, I just click the button, takes me over to that purchase order. So very quick, fast navigation, all the data really that I need at my fingertips. Maybe I still need to go a little bit deeper. Then I can just click on the report tab. These are project specific reports. They're specific to this project. If you have much field labor at all, that's going to be a very important report for you. This is tied to the time card. Remember, our estimate created a labor budget. Then, as people are filling out time cards, it's taking away from the labor budget. So here's my original budget by cost code, hours budgeted and total cost, actual to date. What are my actual hours, total cost, over, under, and average cost? then actual to date again, but that side is with markup. That side is without markup. So again, this is a live system. I could run that report 10 times a day to keep an eye on my labor and see how I'm doing. Then I have all these other different reports listed down here. This one I'll show you, it's a large report. And at first it's like, ooh, that's a lot to learn. But it's a very simple report when you think about it and really quickly understand it. It's cost code and cost code name, material estimated cost, material cost, material estimated minus material cost. So in a sense, my over and under, again, by cost code and cost code name. See my cost code and cost code name. And so then it does it for labor, equipment, sub, other, and 4 different columns total it up. And again, live report. As soon as something financial is entered or time, it's updating that report. So you know where your job stands immediately, up to the minute, literally up to the minute. To dive more into the reports, just taking a little bit deeper dive, because here we're just looking at very few of the project specific reports. We have an entire report tab, or module, should I say. It's over here. And in the report module, we've even lost count on how many we have. We don't know. We think it's about 100+ different reports. But here's job cost reports. So there is that budget versus actual, but these are where I can do cross-project reporting. And you see the view button over here. These aren't just a single canned report. As I click the view button, brings me up what I call a parameter box. How do I want to run that report? I can select multiple projects by project type. How do I want to generate that from my schedule of values or my approved estimate? Where do I want to pull my labor from? My wage rate, my billing rate, my burden rate, or an approved estimate? Same thing really goes for, just because it's such critical reporting, come down here to the time card reports. We do have many integrations. Gusto is one of them for payroll. But this time activity, the most popular report that gets run for time, again, I hit view. Look at all the different ways I can run this. Everybody finds their own favorite report they want to run. So once I set the parameter and I hit generate report, and I come back to this report a day later or a week later, all my selections are going to stay the same. So I'm not resetting this report every time. That would be ridiculous. It would take forever to reset that every single time. So each user can have their settings, and they stay every time I go back to run that report. So you can see, I'm going to pull down the main menu briefly. We're going to walk through just a few other things. Daily logs. Incredibly important tool. Track, no, I accidentally clicked on it, but I guess we'll jump in here. Didn't mean to click on it. All the things you need to track what happens on a job on a day-to-day basis. What material showed up, what material got delivered, what material got used. Spot for notes, project notes, job site inspections, because we do have permits and we do have inspections. So as I enter my permits and I do an inspection, the inspection is tied back to the permit. So at the end of the job, I've got a nice little binder set up that shows that I did all my inspections and that they all passed. Got files where you're going to load up all your daily photos of the project. So your progress photos, things like that. You've got things like a CPM Gantt chart schedule. Plus you have a calendar over here, and you've got crew schedule. So if you have crews that move around a lot, the crew schedule is fantastic for that. Very quick and easy to move crews around. So if they're just on jobs for a couple of days, and that's even a very fluid schedule, it's just simply set up your crews, drag and drop them between jobs. Everybody's automatically notified. So if I take crew A and had them on the Smith job for Monday and Tuesday, but then I had to move them over to the concrete job, I just drag and drop them to the concrete job, and everybody on crew A gets a notification that they've been moved over to that job without me doing a thing other than a simple drag and drop. Everything all the way down to punch lists, service tickets, which also double as warranty work. Under documents, got files and photos. Now, if I have to have change orders, write a change order, and I've got backup documentation, drawings, cut sheets, product sheets, pricing sheets, whatever it might be, they're always going to stay with that change order, but everything is also going to be in my files and photos. This is my library or my central repository, because for me, if it's a year later, I don't remember what change order that was for. I just remember it was for that customer. So I can go into my files and photos and just run a search by customer, and all files and photos for that customer are going to show up, and I'm going to find it. So you don't really load files and photos here. You load files and photos into whatever record that you need it in, whatever module stays there, but it's also over here as a repository so I can get it later. If you're doing public works, commercial work, there's RFIs, there's submittals, vehicle logs, equipment logs, safety meetings. I'm going to take a minute here because almost no other system has things like safety meetings and incidences. Really no other system on the market has especially these two combined. In safety meetings, we've given you 800 safety topics in English and Spanish. So you can come in, pre-schedule all of these. Like I said, in English or Spanish, you can still load your own safety topics. You can have everybody sign that they were at that meeting. Again, you've also got a custom field. So if you want to create custom fields to go along with those safety meetings, you can do that as well. Then, in addition to that, you have incidences. And I would say, God forbid, if you ever need one. However, construction is a dangerous business. And this is your OSHA 300 log as well. So it's your OSHA incident reporting. So type incident, all the fields you need. So if I say any injury and I type yes, it opens up injury description. If accepted treatment, if I say yes, it opens up a box for description. If I say transported to hospital, opens up description. Then down at the bottom, there's where you're going to have your OSHA 300 log. So at the end of the year, you're not scrambling, looking for different spreadsheets, handwritten pieces of paper, trying to assemble this OSHA 300 log at the end of the year. You're simply going back over to your reports and running your OSHA 300 log. It's going to compile it from all of your projects. The other thing that you can do over in settings is each person, and we are the only system that can do this in settings, each user can set the program, the app, to be in the language of their choice. Not everybody is English as their first language, so each user can have Contractor Foreman in their own language. Now, I usually sometimes save this for the end, but I've hit you with a lot really quick. And most people are probably thinking, well, that's really cool and that's really neat, but that's just simply, there's no way I can afford that. That's out of my league. That's not going to happen. I'd love to grow into that one day, but no, we can't do that. We have found ways to keep the price very low in Contractor Foreman. So even 8 users comes out, breaks down to 87 a month. That's for all 8 users. That's 1,044 for a year. We do bill yearly. Plus, your first 30 days is free. You can even cancel in that 30 days, and there's absolutely no charge. Plus you get a price lock guarantee. So if you were to sign up whenever, you're guaranteed that price for life. 5 years from now, that's what you're going to be paying. Even if you went with an unlimited package, unlimited users, breaks down to the $148 a month. And that's just unlimited users. And we do provide free one-on-one training. That includes your tech support, updates, everything. There's nothing else to spend money on Contractor Foreman. That's it. Zero nickel and diming. We don't like it when the cable company nickel and dimes us. So we're not going to nickel and dime you guys. So hope that helps everybody. I mean, I wish I had a full hour to kind of really walk you through pretty much every single one of these, modules. There's your directory. This is where you're going to store all of your different types of contacts. We did touch on the leads. I will show you the calendar. That's very, very powerful tool in Contractor Foreman, because so many things in Contractor Foreman have a due date, a permit, very important due date that has to be pulled, inspection, when inspection is going to happen, a to-do has a due date on it. All these things have due dates in Contractor Foreman, and we can have those show up on our calendar or not, because if all those things showed up on the calendar, our calendar would be so full it would be useless. We couldn't see it. It would just be a jumble of dates and colors. You do color code your employees and you do color code your projects. And so here I can select what employees I want to see and what items do I want to see on my calendar. And then it makes it kind of a little bit more useful tool. Plus I can break it down by what projects do I want to see. And I can do by what employees do I want to see. So let's just switch this over to tomorrow and I'll book me real quick. I'll just do so Rob's new event. Got me assigned to. I could assign it to multiple people here. I can set up a reminder 10 minutes before. I can select a project. Make it a repeat event, time off, etc. I'm going to hit save here. And we're going to jump over to the project. See, I'm in red. Jump over to the project. There's the 14th, and there it is for me under Bank 1 sidewalk repair. I come over here to the week. There it is under bank or under Friday, October 14th at 8 a.m. And then I'm going to get notifications on my cell phone. I'm going to get notifications in the app, etc. So I'm not going to forget about that event. And then I can say, well, that's going to take Rob a little longer than that because he's kind of a slow guy. So let's just drag that down. And now it just drug it out there. And it just going to drag it out there. Just hadn't updated yet, but it'll drag it out there as well. So very, very interactive calendar. And like I say, we have our crew schedule over here. And with the crew schedule, got my crew set up here. And I'm simply going to take my project, drag it over to the crew schedule. There we go. And I'm going to have those guys work there through till Wednesday. There we go. Now everybody on that crew is now going to get a notification. Once I hit my send schedule button, that'll have gone down and scheduled out my whole crew. And I hit send schedule. Everybody gets a nice tidy email. And I can schedule them for another job later in the week because now they're going to head over there. And they're going to be there for the rest of the week. Hit send schedule. And there we go. Now everybody's been notified of where they're going to work. So I just scheduled everybody out. Took me seconds. So you can see the kind of the power, the strength, how it just moves data from one spot to the next, cuts down drastically on that redundant data entry. Just pushes the data out in front of you. The reporting keeps you kind of apprised of where you sit on your jobs, helps you maximize those profits. So literally starting with what Brian and MyOnlineToolbox helps you set up, brings in those leads, and then we take those leads and we turn those into better, more consistent profits to get rid of those peaks and valleys in your profit and loss statement, and start stabilizing your profits. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Got anything in closing there, Brian?
No, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. And again, for the My Online Toolbox people, please, even though you might appreciate what we do in marketing, please spread the word on Contractor Foreman. We would very much appreciate it. And I do thank everybody for their time to join us today.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you soon.
Have a wonderful day.